I've been collecting manga for 2 years now and I absolutely love it. But sometimes I struggle to decide on what to read next as there are so many great options. And recently I discovered that Barnes & Noble does this really cool thing called Blind Date with a Book. And what they do is wrap up books and manga and only provide the genre and a brief description of what it's about. And even then, it was really hard to choose which ones to take my chance on. So I got a total of 3, and the first one says that it's about criminals and scams and con artists and major scandals. Let's see. Not open yet. Let's see. Ooh. I feel like I've heard of this. The Great Pretender. That name sounds so familiar. Is there an anime for this one? Let's see. It's based on the hit Netflix series. Edamura Makoto likes to say he's the best con artist in Japan, but his bragging has caught the attention of another grifter. Laurent Theory needs Makoto's help to pull off a huge scam that will make them both rich. Who knows? I'm excited. First impression, this is funny. Reminds me of Breaking Bad at the end and I want to know what happens next. The description at the beginning was spot on. Con artists, scams, and criminals. Most of the first volume took place in Los Angeles, which is pretty cool. There were multiple times where the characters did something that I wasn't expecting, which is to be expected of con men, right? Toward the end of this volume, I kept thinking about how some of the circumstances reminded me a lot of Breaking Bad. I also caught myself laughing often while reading this one. I feel like this one is one that anyone can get into, either the manga or anime. I'm intrigued and want to keep reading. And as I said before, this one is already being animated through Netflix. There are 2 seasons out with a total of 24 episodes. All right, on to the second one. It says the genre is sports. It's a slice of life, realist emotions, and flash of heroics. Let's see what this one is. Witch Hat Atelier? Ooh, the cover is beautiful. Meet young Coco, curious and bright and desperate to learn how magics wrought, but witches keep their secrets hidden tight, and witches, Coco knows, are born, not taught. Then one day Coco spies upon a witch as he prepares the charms for which she yearns. I feel like this will be a really cute, adventurous. I'm excited to read this one. My first impression was that the scenery and art style remind me so much of Studio Ghibli, and I'm emotionally invested in what happens to Coco. This manga is not a sports slice of life like the wrapping said, it's more of a fantasy adventure so far. Even though it's not what I expected, I'm definitely interested in what happens next. Interestingly enough, this is one that I probably wouldn't have picked up on my own as I haven't read much fantasy manga before. But honestly, I'm so glad I came across this one as it might have just sparked my interest in this genre. All right, on to the third book. So this one says it's a sign-in / fantasy, and it says join the crew who hunt the fantastical giants who rule their world. So I've seen plenty of seinen / fantasy anime, but I've never read a manga, so that's why I picked it up because why not, right? Might as well try it for the first time. So let's go ahead and open this one. What does it say? Drifting Dragons. Experience the adventure that inspired the new Netflix original anime. Mika is a draker on the airship Queen Zaza. He earns his livelihood hunting the whales of the sky, dragons. The beautiful beasts are flying treasure troves, providing food and materials, and the Queen Zaza is among the last draking vessels. Mika's not just a talented hunter, he's also a gourmand with a refined palate and a taste for the exotic. Between his duties aboard the ship, his ambitions as an eater, and his job training the rookie dragon hunter Takita, Mika's days are never boring. I'm not really sure what to think on this one, but I'm going in with a very open mind. And then finally, our last manga, Drifting Dragons. My first impression on this one was that it reminds me of Food Wars. But mostly just because it has to do with food and cooking. It's also definitely in more of a fantasy world setting, and the main character loves meat, just like Luffy from One Piece. So this one is also interesting. It's another fantasy adventure story about a strong and passionate young man who loves the taste of dragon meat. And he's a big foodie, so expect lots of cooking references and even some recipes. In the first two manga, I could kind of tell where the plot of the story was headed, but I did not get that with this one, so I definitely have to keep reading before I can start guessing what is going to happen. This one also has already been animated through Netflix. There's one season with 12 episodes. I would say my favorite of the three definitely is Great Pretender, followed by Witch Hat Atelier, and then Drifting Dragons. I might just watch the Great Pretenders anime and then pick up the second volume for Witch Hat Atelier. At the moment, I'm a little unsure about Drifting Dragons. It wasn't bad, but I just don't feel the urge to pick up the next volume. This experience was a lot of fun. It was like opening a little gift because I didn't know what to expect. And I would totally do this again. I think it's a great way to step out of my comfort zone and try reading something different. Did any of these catch your attention?